It begins in silence, a city waking up to a normal day, unaware that underneath the hum of commerce, a storm has been quietly gathering. Ordinary people, shopkeepers, teachers, office workers, carry on their lives, never suspecting that their world, their economy, is on the brink of collapse. Because sometimes the most devastating catastrophes aren't natural disasters, they're human-made, and sometimes they're hidden behind the ordinary, the mundane, the everyday transactions we barely notice. This is the story of a billion-dollar scam. Not a movie, not fiction, but a meticulously orchestrated deception that nearly brought an entire country to its knees. A scam that was as ingenious as it was ruthless, where the line between victim and perpetrator blurred in the most haunting ways.
This spike here concerns me. Are we sure about the data integrity?
We've triple-checked the numbers. They are accurate.
Then we are in agreement. We proceed as planned.
Banks, government agencies, even the regulators, they all trusted the framework that had been built over decades. And that trust, as it turned out, was the weakest link. For months, money vanished. Millions turned into tens of millions, tens into hundreds. At first, the losses seemed like minor errors, clerical mistakes, oversights. But then the pattern emerged. Transfers that should have taken days happened in seconds. Accounts that should have been flagged were invisible. And somewhere, hidden behind a maze of digital records and shell companies, the perpetrators were laughing. Experts later described it as a perfect storm of greed, naivete, and technical brilliance. Economists called it unprecedented. Citizens called it terrifying. And for those living through it, it was incomprehensible. How could an entire system fail in silence? How could the money, the lifeblood of a nation, evaporate almost overnight, leaving millions of people exposed? One of the whistleblowers, speaking under the shadow of anonymity, would later say it wasn't just about the money, it was about power, about control, and once they had it, there was no stopping them. The scam unfolded in layers. At the surface, it looked like routine banking operations, transactions, loans, investments. But deeper, far deeper, there were networks of hidden accounts, shell corporations, and offshore entities designed to mask every trace, every move calculated, every loophole exploited. And yet the human cost was never just numbers on a spreadsheet. Families lost savings. Small businesses shuttered. Retirees saw their pensions shrink in an instant. And the weight of it didn't just rest on bank balance sheets. It rested on people's hearts, their sense of security, their trust in the world around them. It was only when a mid-level auditor, someone who had worked in the bank for nearly a decade, noticed a discrepancy that the pieces began to fall into place. What she uncovered was staggering. A digital breadcrumb trail that led to a network so sophisticated, so carefully concealed, that it felt almost cinematic. And for a moment, there was hope that the disaster could be contained. But human systems are fragile. Panic spread faster than logic. Investors withdrew funds. Credit dried up. Governments scrambled. And as the nation teetered on the edge, the true audacity of the scam became clear. This wasn't just about stealing money. It was about shaking the very foundations of trust that holds society together. Investigators eventually traced the network to a handful of individuals, some familiar, some completely unexpected. There were those who had once been trusted advisors, technologists, even government officials, and there were those who were shadows, ghosts in the system, who operated entirely unseen, manipulating currencies, contracts, and digital ledgers with almost artistic precision. What's remarkable and terrifying is how close the country came to collapse. A few more miscalculations, a few more delayed responses, and the fallout could have been catastrophic. Entire industries could have crumbled. Ordinary citizens could have lost everything. Yet, in the aftermath, there were lessons. Systems were overhauled. Regulations tightened, and for a moment it felt like the crisis had passed. But the story leaves a lingering question. In a world where so much depends on trust, how safe are we really? How easily could another scam, another network, another group of shadow operators threaten everything we take for granted? Perhaps the most haunting part of this story isn't the money that was lost, or even the collapse of a nation. It's the reminder that our lives, our economies, our sense of security, can hinge on human choices, choices made in secret, often by people we would never suspect. And as we go about our ordinary days, checking our accounts, paying our bills, running our errands, we rarely stop to consider that the world we take for granted can be undone quietly, almost invisibly, by ingenuity and ambition that knows no moral bounds. The billion-dollar scam didn't just steal money. It stole certainty, it stole comfort, and it left behind a truth that lingers like a shadow. Trust, once broken, is the hardest thing to rebuild. And maybe, just maybe, the next catastrophe is already taking shape, silent, unseen, waiting for someone like you or me to notice too late.